Hey everybody, Joy here. It is 3 o'clock in the afternoon on a Wednesday, February 17, 2021. And I'm making an introduction to this video that I've been making for days and days. It's another one of my hodgepodge videos. But what I'm doing is I'm making the new Crissy top. The Crissy top, which is a square neckline with a very unusual, super genius method of finishing the neckline. I'll show you here in a second the Fit Nice System Master Top pattern, but my video didn't have an introduction, so I thought I'd better say hello. This is Joy, and from here on you're going to watch me take the Fit Nice Master Top pattern, there's only one, and you're going to see me recut it to a smaller size because I've lost weight, and then you're going to see me adjust it and adjust it and adjust it to get the fit to the point this top is. This is top number 3 of the Crissy top. So, I hope you enjoy it. Let me know if you have any questions. Let's go. This is the Fit Nice System top pattern. I'm making a new one. Why am I making a new one? Because I've lost weight and the others seem to be a little big. So this is the pattern. And I have already traced a front and a back. And so you always ask me about the pattern adjustments. So I have just done the adjustments on the front. So I'm just going to show it to you so you can see what it looks like. You can see here that I've got a red line up into the armpit, to the apex, and then all the way down to the bottom. I've shown you that many times. Then I cut on the red line, kept going up to the seam allowance at the armpit, jumped the seam allowance, and cut again. Then I cut a line straight over from the apex out the side seam. So you can see that a red line went that way and a red line is here. Before I did that, I took this into the 3-way mirror and I held it up to my shoulder line and to my side seam. I did not line it up with my center front. The whole way you know you need an FBA is if center front doesn't meet your center front. So you line this up under your arm, line up the shoulder seam, and then you measure to the middle of you. And however far away the center front is from your center front is how big a FBA you need. And so mine was just 1/2 inch. It used to always be 5/8, 3/4, even up to 1 inch, but today it was just 1/2 inch. So from here to here, there to there, I have added a 1/2 inch slice of paper. Starts over here, goes up into that point, fills in this little piece of pie right there, and then fills in this 1/2 inch. When you pull this a 1/2 inch apart, you also pull it down. See here how this piece here is now a 1/2 inch lower than this piece here? Yeah, and that's what you want. What we're going to do is we're going to lower this piece to be equal with that piece. What that does is it gives it room to go over your humps and line up down at the bottom of you where the back is. You want the back and the front to be the same off the ground. You understand? Parallel right to the ground. You don't want the front short. And if you need an FBA, the front of your garment will always be too short. So, after I did that, I drew from my apex. Now my apex is up here. This moved down a 1/2 inch when I put the FBA in it, but my apex is still up here. I've shown this many times. So this is where I started out. So then I took this green marker and I drew over there to where it opened up into a dart, like that. Why from the apex? Because I want to move the dart, and in order to move the dart, you have to draw it all the way to the apex. When you're sewing a dart, you want it 1 inch to 1.5 inches away from your apex. You do not want snow cone boobs. Okay? So, that's all I've done. That's it. Open this up a little bit, I'm gonna lower it a little bit, and now I'm gonna move this dart to be a French dart. And I'll show you how I'm gonna do that. I think I've shown you that before too, but I'm not sure. I've slipped since then. Remember, dart manipulation happens from the apex. The apex, the apex, the apex. If you do it from the dart point, you are gonna end up with a mess. So I'm gonna cut the dart that I want, which is a French dart, all the way off my paper. I'm going to slice one of the lines of this dart up here. I think I'll slice the top line. You can slice the top, you can slice the bottom. Slice it through all of your paper. Okay? Now I'm going to take the top of my dart and rotate it. Let's have rotate duty. I am going to rotate the top of my dart, the top dart, the dart that was already here, the dart that was created by the full bust adjustment, and I'm going to close it. And when I close it, it's going to open up right here because this is where I moved it to. So, however much the dart was here, it's going to be that much there. It might not look the same, might be a different shape, but it's still the exact same size dart. Okay? So, this is fun. I like this part, changing your pattern. And what I'm making here is the Crissy top. The Crissy top. Judy Kessinger. All right. So, now, this is our new dart. See our new dart? The camera's upside down and backwards, but do you see that new dart right there? That is a French dart. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some paper in here in this French dart, and then I'm going to draw the point of the real dart, not the designer's dart where you move darts around. I'm going to put the real dart and I'm going to move it 1 inch away from my apex. So let's get some paper. What paper am I using? I know you're going to ask me that. This is a really nice vellum. I got it from Amazon. Now you know Glenda Sparling sells vellum with SureFit Designs, but her vellum is thick. And this is a thinner one, and I really like the thinner one better. I don't know how to tell you. If I can find it, I'll put a link below. But I know I got it on Amazon. And I learned about it from my friend Becky. Okay, so we're going to come here to the dart point. Remember, it's up here. It's not down here. Just ignore that. That's moved down. That's different. We're going to stay up here. We're going to move out 1 inch from that. And then we have to find the center of that. I'm just going to guess it's a teeny tiny itty bitty teeny weeny thing. Then let me get a color. So I'm going to draw in the French dart 1 inch away from my apex. And you can see where it's open up out here on the side seam. That's where you go to. And there you go. See there? That's the new dart. Here's my apex. I'm 1 inch away. This is the point of the dart, and this is the sides of the dart. Now, you can see here we have an issue. Nothing lines up over here on the side anymore. So what we're going to do is we're going to fold the dart like we sewed the dart in, and then we're going to draw a new side seam. I hope y'all can see this really good. Look, when I fold it, look what happens. The side seam lined up perfectly. Isn't that just magic? It's like when I was first doing this, I would have cried, sat on the floor and bawled. I would have thought, no, it didn't turn out. It's crazy. Try to fold it on the side of the table. Sometimes that helps. Fold your dart in like as if you sewed it on a sewing machine. Then cut the side seam, which is now back together, which is so exciting. Seam allowances are already in here. And up here, we're just going to ignore that dart that used to be there. Cut it from the bottom. Now hopefully this isn't going to be so gigantic as my other top before I lost weight. Now let me show you another fix you have to do. Look right here in the armhole. When I cut this first FBA up into the armhole, and then you jump the seam allowance, which is 1/2 inch, and you cut the rest of the way out, it changes this curve right here. So all you do is you take your stylus and you just put it up there and you make it curve again. See? You just make it curve again. It's super simple. You can use your designing stylus, or you can use, I have a little one that I got from Palmer and Pletsch. Okay? And so now I'm going to cut that. You don't want to leave that jog in there, or your sleeves will sew in funny and that won't look good. So you can see, let me put the camera back up and I'll show you what this looks like. Okay, so here's our new French dart right there. I'm going to close it and tape it shut with some removable tape. Tape your dart shut. Okay, so now I'm going to hold this up to me, and it should reach the center of me, and it does. And there's my new dart going to the side, and this reaches the center of me, I hope. I'm not in the right kind of mirror, so it reaches the center of me now. So, now that I've got the paper pattern fixed with my FBA, there's nothing else I do to the front. Sometimes I will tuck the neckline because sometimes they're a little saggy on me, and sometimes I'll take a tuck in the neckline like that, and I'll do it down to the bust dart and then open the bust dart up bigger. But I'm not going to do that on this because I don't know if I need it yet. You don't really know if you need that until you put it on in fabric. All right, so you want to do the back now? So here's the back, and there's the sleeve. Drawn off. There's nothing to tape together. You don't have to do any taping on a Fit Nice pattern. You do have to add a bust dart to it if you want one. Most of the people who use her system don't even put a bust dart in it. She doesn't. She doesn't do a bust dart. But I just happen to need one, or it just won't hang right on me. There'll be wrinkles and be big wrinkles right here. I just can't stand that. So, what do I need in the back? 2 corrections I always make in the back. And they're always the same 2 corrections. Always, always. Now, what if you need something else? Well, if you do need something else, there's lots and lots of videos. I have lots of videos. Judy Kessinger has lots of videos. SureFit Designs has lots of videos. There's lots of videos out there. And, of course, Palmer and Pletsch. I will put a link below to at least one Palmer Pletsch YouTube video on fitting. And once you find that video, then you'll be able to find, you know, all the other videos out there. Okay, so here's the back. This back is not going to fit me. This has to have a sway back in it, or the center back would be way too long on me, and I'll have all this extra fabric up above my back. It also has to have a round back, because I'm rounder right here, and I need more material to come up to the bottom of my neck. So we're going to do a round back and a sway back. And I'm pretty sure you all know how to do that, but I'll roll the camera back down just in case. What I like to do is use my mat. See, my mat has all these 1-inch grid lines on it. That is so helpful for this work. So I'm just going to line it up. Right now, the center back is as straight as can be. It lines up exactly straight on my grid. When I get through with this center back, it's going to look like a roller coaster. Lap down your roller. I just happen to know that I need to do my sway back up here above the waist. Do your sway back above your waist. I know my sway back. My back is about 16 inches. So I'm going to come up to about 14. I think I'll come right here on that line, since that line's there for me. And that's about 15 inches. So I'm going to make a line all the way to the seam allowance, jump the seam allowance, and keep going. There's a line all the way across my back pattern. So I am going to take a rotary cutter. You can use scissors. I'm going to cut all the way to the seam line, jump, and then go on the other side of the seam line and cut some more. Okay? I know that I need a sway back of 5/8 inch. How do I know that? Because I made about 10 trillion patterns. You'll probably make this first with no sway back, and then you'll find out by looking in the mirror whether you need one or not. How will you know? Your side seam won't hang straight. Your side seam won't hang straight if you have a sway back, and you'll end up with the back of your garment right here, the center back, it'll be too long compared to the front. See, you can see now, this line is no longer straight. The straight line was right here. I'm clear over here now. I'm almost an entire inch off of the straight line that my back used to fit on, okay? Very sway back. So I've got the sway back in it now. Now I've got, and I know it sounds crazy. Here you cross it over. Up here at the round back, we're gonna open it up. Why? Because that's the shape my back is. And I'm gonna do it up here high because I know I have a high round back. I'm gonna mark the 1/2 inch seam allowance. Now I'm going to cut over to the 1/2 inch seam allowance, jump the seam line. I think I cut too far on that one. Seems to be holding. Now I'm going to open this up 3/4 of an inch. In some patterns, I actually need more than 3/4 of an inch. You don't know how much roundness any pattern company put in their pattern to start with. Well, I'm going to do 3/4 of an inch. Three-quarters of an inch is right there. So I'm going to plop down this little. Now you want this to stay put. Put some weights on it so it'll quit moving. Stay. 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 Okay. So now I'm going to flip this up. Use permanent tape for this work. You're not going to be removing it. Now what will happen if you made this too big? You'll end up with the back neckline up in your hair. But we'll check it on the paper pattern. We're going to do Palmer Pletsch next, I am. And we are going to see how the paper fits. Now this garment's going to be made out of knit. And the knit stretches, the paper doesn't. So it will be a generalization of whether it fits or not. Okay? So right here, we've crossed over 5/8 inch. Sway back. Up here, we've opened up. Nobody here but you, Joy. Up there, I opened up 3/4 of an inch. So now my back is no longer straight. It is no longer straight at all. But I'm going to place it on the fold of the fabric as though it was straight, and I'm going to line up the very top of this pattern. This is the center back. Center back. Play like this line is the fold of the fabric. I'm going to place the top of the pattern on the fold and the bottom of the pattern on the fold. And everything in between, I'm just going to ignore it. And then I will cut this with it on the fold. It will come over the fold a little bit here. It will be inside the fold here. And then back down at the bottom, it will come back to the fold. And be straight again. I hope that makes sense. Peggy Sagers taught me that. Oh, she is really wonderful. She is so good at making things fit. So here's the final step to check your paper pattern. Paper. This is the Palmer Pletsch method. So I have pinned it together on the seam lines. You start a 1/2 inch under your armpit and a 1/2 inch away from your neck, or you will hurt yourself. Remember, there's going to be a seam allowance there, a seam sewn there. So it's not going to come all the way to the edge of the paper. Then you have to clip. I've clipped. See all these little clips in here? Clips. Because the paper won't bend. It will be too stiff and it'll want to tear. So I have cut into the neckline. I have not cut into the shoulder. That usually doesn't matter. If I had a sleeve pinned on here, I would cut into the armhole, but I don't think I'm going to need to. Now you got to take your blouse off. Just be your underwear, whatever you would wear under the top when you get done making it. But I'm not going to take my blouse off because I love you too much. Okay, so what you do then is you try on the paper. Now this part is difficult to do by yourself. When you watch the Palmer Pletsch video, you'll see it. And remember this. Remember this. The fabric is going to stretch. The paper does not stretch at all. So you're going to have some negative ease in there. If this was for a woven, it would have a lot more ease in it, okay? So then you need to have a triple mirror. That helps out so much. So you pull this up to your neck. You want to check the shoulder slope. And the shoulder slope on Fit Nice is usually perfect for me. Doesn't come to your center front. Now, when I first held this up to me, it didn't. It was a 1/2 inch away. Now it comes. But the back could be anywhere. The back isn't taped down. Nobody's holding it for me. It's just flopping around in the air. So what you want to do is try to make the back be still. I have a piece of tape back there, right up here. It's not going to stick because I've already had it there. Then you want to check the back and make sure it comes up. The seam line at the neck comes to your bone. There's a bone right there at the bottom that you use to measure your back, and this does come to mine. If I did not put that round back in it, this would not come up high enough in the back. I put the sway back in it. So what the sway back correction does is it makes the seam go down the side of me. And instead of, it would kick, what would it do? Without the sway back, it would kick forward like that. With the sway back, it straightens it up. Okay, now remember, I have clothing on. You can't do it over clothing. So, the next test is, find some fabric that stretches. Don't cut it out of muslin. Muslin doesn't stretch. If you're going to make your finished garment out of stretch fabric, cut your first test garment out of that too. My test garments always end up being something I can wear. But if you're just beginning at this, you may have to make a couple before you figure out what you really like. Okay? My tape wants to come off the back. So I'm going to cut out an actual garment, and when I get it all made up, I'll come back and show it to you. What about the sleeve? I have skinny arms. So sleeves always, if I ever have to do anything on a sleeve, it's take it in. But I know a lot of women have large arms and they have to add, pin the arm, pin the sleeve together. Pin it together just like you did this. And pull the sleeve up on your arm. And yes, it will be paper, and yes, it will be stiff. But if there's not enough room in it, it's going to tear when you pull it up. Okay? So then you'll know if you need to add some to your sleeve or not. This is top number 3 of the Crissy top by Fit Nice Systems. Somebody told me once that I look good in a square neckline. But I have major trouble with any kind of a very open neckline because of my narrow shoulders and my sloping shoulders. Things just want to slide off of me, especially with the slinky knit. The best kind of knit to use for this, in my opinion, is a cotton knit. One that stretches, but not super slinky and slimy and slippery like ITY knit. My first one was an ITY knit, and I loved the feel of it, and it seemed like it was going together really good. But before I got the second sleeve in, I tried it on, and I thought, oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no. First of all, I had taken my pattern, and this is all patched up now, but you can see that it used to have a dart right here. Because, you know, I have to put an FBA and everything, even in the Fit Nice system. Master top, I put a FBA in it. So I made the FBA straight out here to the side like you're supposed to. Then I closed it up. I moved it down here to be a French dart. And then this dart up here, these darts that you see right here, that actually wasn't a real dart. It's just a dart that Judy Kessinger put in there for this really brilliant way to finish the neckline. It works out so good. But I got that first top done, and I had a dart here, and a dart here, and a dart here, and a dart here. There were darts everywhere. I'll show it to you right here. Okay, here's the first one that I made out of this fun Viv print that I bought after she made something out of it. I quit at one sleeve. I'm showing you there the French dart. I'm showing you now the 2 little darts that are there to fix the neckline. The sleeves are a bit too long, but I chopped those off to be cap sleeves later. Look at the shoulder line. Look at how far it falls off my shoulder. And when I measure the paper pattern, that measurement's perfect. But look at it, this is very slippery ITY knit, and it just does not want to stay up. The neckline is too big all the way around. So I decided to make some fixes in garment number 2 to see if I could make it work better. Now, if I had the other sleeve in, both sides would have pulled sideways. So that one is in the trash, my friends. Even though it is kind of fun fabric. There I'm moving around, acting like I'm someplace talking to people to see if my blouse will stay up. And of course, it won't. Just showing you. Okay, so even though that turned out kind of cute and I kind of liked it, there's no way. I mean, the thing would have, if I put the other sleeve in, it would have just completely fallen off of me and slipped down right into my plate when I was at a restaurant. So that was top number 1. Went into the trash. It was the Crissy top. Okay, I decided, all right, I'm going to make it out of another one, and I'm not going to use an ITY this time. I'm going to use a more stable knit. So I had yards and yards and yards of this navy blue rib knit in my stash, and so I thought, hey, let's try that and see how it works. So I brought it in here, and as I was working with it, I thought, hey, I know how to move darts around. I sure do. I know how to move darts around. So what I did was I closed up the French dart and I moved it up in here to this fake dart. And so now this is a real dart that points to my apex that I'm going to sew into it. So not only is it the dart to close the neckline up, it's the dart to put a bust dart in the garment. That part was a dream. I was so proud of myself, I couldn't stand it. So this was my next pattern. So I cut it all out and I made it up. I tried it on and I still had problems with the shoulders falling off. Shoulders were too far out from my shoulder, even though when I measured it from center front to my shoulder point, it was exactly 7.5 inches, which is half of me. I'm 15 inches. But for some reason, when you're using a knit, it can still just stretch way out of shape. So I didn't fix that part at that point. But I did move the dart up into here in the second one, the blue one. Let me show you it right here. Now this one looks like it fits me, but I had already taken it in and sewn 2 darts in the back neck, because before I did that, it kept falling down. I'm showing you there that I took out the French dart. No French dart, it is gone. I moved it up into the neck and it worked out really good. Love that part. But when I turn around, you'll see up there at the neckline, there's 2 big darts. And I took that in after it was all made to see if it would hold the neckline up. And it did hold it up a whole lot better. But I could not fix this blouse at that point because it was already done. And you can see it's still too short in the front. That means I need to lower it in the front some more for my bust. All right, I'm right in the middle of editing this, and there's some things that I told you wrong or forgot to tell you, so I'm gonna insert this right here. You saw top number 1 where everything was just too big and the fabric was too slippery and too slimy and too drapey. Number 2, I used a cotton knit, rib knit. It was a much heavier knit, a much more stable knit. So the only thing I did in it was I removed the 2 side darts. I thought you don't need 4 darts in this top. So I removed the 2 French darts and I moved them up into these 2 little darts that are here to fix the neckline. So I made top number 2. It still was too big, way too big, still baggy, and I ended up taking 2 tucks right here in the finished top. The top was already done, except for the hems. So I just went in and took those 2 tucks on my sewing machine to see if it would fix it. And ta-da! It made a big difference. You could tell that one fit me pretty good. So what did I do? I came in here and I made more adjustments to the paper. So that way, this knit, this is a cotton knit. It's a lightweight cotton knit. Cotton knit works much better than a slinky one, but I'll show you the changes I made. Knowing the neckline was too big, and that was the problem, I did 3 things to it. First of all, Judy shows you to move the neckline over 1/2 inch and come down to make your square neck. I taped that 1/2 inch back on. I taped that back on here. So you can see the neckline comes all the way over to my neck. I'm going to make another top in a minute. I'm going to top number 4 and I'm going to remove that again. And I'm going to see if, because I have put these other fixes in it, that I don't have to have it so close to my neck. I feel like my rectangle, not really a square anymore, I feel it looks like I got caught in an embroidery hoop. It's just so narrow. So I'm going to try removing that again, which will make this wider by 1 inch. But with my corrections, hopefully it will still fit me and stay up. But before I made this top, I put that 1/2 inch back on here. I also cut the neckline. I cut from here over to here, jumped the seam, and kept going. Cut from here to here, and I crossed it over. Can you see how I crossed it over here? Crossed it over right here. I'll show you in the fabric. I crossed it over right there, over to that arm's eye. Just like that. Crossed it over. Started out a 1/4 inch here, went over there to a nothing. Right there, you can see it. So that made this from here to here shorter. See? Then I also did it on the back neck. You have to do it on both. Remember I took the 2 big tucks in the back? Well, I did it in the paper. So I cut the back neck. See how little it is? You think, oh good Lord, Joy, that fit a little tiny baby. I just have a little neck. So I cut this from here all the way over to the armhole, jumped the seam line, kept going. So I crossed the neckline over. I've crossed it over 3/8 inch at least. Do you see that? So that made this part shorter. Okay? So this, the fit in this is perfect. Absolutely perfect, perfect, perfect. It's just, I want to try it again with the more open neckline, so it's more of a square than a embroidery hoop. Back to the video. This originally, from this sewing line to the edge, that was originally 1/2 inch. Now it's 1/4 inch. So I trimmed the armhole back right here, 1/4 inch, and just tapered it down to about here. So that 1/4 inch, it was floating around on my table this morning. I wonder if it's still here. Here's my little 1/4 inch sliver right there. See how tiny it is? And you see how I sliced that off there? Right off the edge, front and back. So that made my shoulder line come in a little bit further to allow for the stretch. So this one does not leave my shoulders. It doesn't go anywhere. So, what about my leggings? I hope this is a decent picture. What about my leggings? Well, I got these out of the washer, and I thought, well, the shiny side isn't that shiny. So I went ahead and I made them with the shiny side out. Shiny side out in leggings is an invitation to see every lump and bump in your entire body. I swear, if you've got a thick vein, it will show. So I have enough fabric to make them inside out. So I picked my scan and cut design to match this purple. That's why I made these leggings to go with this yellow top and the purple. So I love that. But I do think, even Jerry said, whoa, did you make those? I know. He said, some women wear those so tight. And I said, you mean like me? So I think I'm going to, I don't know, they're supposed to stretch, but I think I'm going to make them a little bit wider next time. Or maybe use that straight leg pattern. I'm not sure, but I'm going to try again on the legging. This looks like I've got fluorescent light tubes inside each leg. And it's like, look here, look here, look here. That's not a good look when you're 70. So, you saw me do the Crissy top. You saw how I made the changes. If you are determined, and if you will take the time, you can make your paper pattern exactly what you need it to be in order to get the fit that you want. I'm so excited that I conquered the Crissy top. All right, my friends, gonna let you go. I don't know what I'm gonna do next, but whatever it is, I'll be back to show it to you. Bye for now.